Hello friends and welcome to Free Shiksha, and this is something very interesting that I found recently, how to improve your creativity by 40%. The concept is based on lateral thinking, which was introduced by Mr. Edward-de-bono. He was a very close contender of the Nobel Prize for medication, and you can research a lot about this man on Google. So the idea is to bring out new and creative ideas that can be incorporated into an existing thing, to improvise it. So you will be able to see by the end of these 4 videos that you are able to come up with 40% new and creative ideas for improving an existing thing that you could before watching this video. So let's start quickly. So the first step is to think of a subject which is to be improved, right? So if you have to improve something, that thing has to be in mind. So let's improve an existing bike. So we have this example. So what I would want you guys to do is to pause this video right now and think of something which is a feature of this bike. Something that possibly you would want new to be added to this bike, right? So just pause this video for a minute and think about new things that can be done to this bike. And your time starts now. Right, so after you have thought about the new features that can be introduced to this bike, let's go ahead to the next step. So choose a random word. Let's choose a frog. Now let's move to step 3. Now you have to write down 5 characteristics of a frog, right? So I have written down some 5 characteristics for my own knowledge. You can also write down 5 characteristics of a frog as per whatever comes to your mind, and it need not be what I have figured out. So I figured out that a frog is an amphibian. It has different and peculiar look, jumps long and very safely, makes different sounds, and has a long tongue, right? So let's move on to the next step now, which says, now associate these 5 characteristics of frog with a bike. Simple as that, right? So you can pause this video again for a minute, and whatever characteristics that you could find for a frog, just try and associate them some way or the other with the bike. So this is how I have done this particular trick. You just have to take bike, you have to take frog, and you have to match the characteristics. Right, so amphibian was the first characteristic that I could find out. So my bike should be rain protective. Like an amphibian can move in water also and can live on land. So my bike should also be rain protective, or probably it can have a shed, or a better grip in water would also help. So these are the new ideas that I can think of. Different and peculiar look. This is what a frog has. So how I can associate this with a bike? Cool graphics, different designs, different colors. That is something that I would want my bike to have. Jumps long and safely. So what do we have here? Shock absorbers. A bike bumps into these pits all over the places, and you would want a very good shock absorbers to be there in the bikes. So that is one thing. Makes different sounds, right? So broom broom, masculine sound. That is sometimes one thing that people look for in their bike, especially in the Royal Enfields. Or if you interpret it the other way, the sound should be smooth and almost silent. Some people do not want their bike to make any kind of noise. So that is another characteristic or feature that you would want your bike to have. What do we have next? Long tongue. So you can think of long tongue as a better reach, probably a better mileage, that your bike should be able to travel more kilometers with the same amount of fuel. Or it can have better headlights, right? Who has the lights which have a better reach, so you should be able to see something in the night through a long distance, right? So that is step 4, and that is all you have to do. So if you thought that frog is something that you could associate bike with, and this is not something new, let's try something very out of the box and out of anything. So I'll choose a cigarette. So cigarette is something you cannot associate, you would think, at first place with a bike. So let's repeat the process. Let's write down 5 things about cigarette, and this is what I have written, and this is what I have done to associate those 5 features with a bike. So a cigarette has filter. I would want my bike not to create pollution. So my bike should be pollution free. A cigarette is sleek, so my bike should also be sleek, which will help me maneuver in traffic. A cigarette is handy, so I would want my bike to have better handling. A cigarette has active and passive smoking associated with it. So my bike should be a joy for both the rider and the person sitting at the back seat. A cigarette is very easily accessible and it is very cost effective. So I would want my bike to also be available at more and more dealers, and the service and all is something that I would want my bike to be improved. For my bike to be improved, right? So these are some things that you can think of, and you can think of many other random words, and you can come up with 5 features, and then you can associate them with an existing thing which you would want to improvise. So I'm pretty sure by repeating this practice for 1 or 2 times, you will be able to generate 40% new ideas for improving an existing thing which you could never thought of, right? So that is all we have for today. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you liked the video.